see how good a job that Craggill makes out of this. No, he's okay.
So now they enter the last lap. One more lap to go. So McEwen still in front here. Now Craggill makes a move as they go through the sweeper. We know that he's made ground here on McEwen before.
If he's, yes, almost, but nearly, not quite.
Oh, McEwen got really slippery. Can he hang on?
I'm not sure whether there was a touch there. Couldn't quite see it, but now Craggill knows he's quick over the top there. McEwen, yes,
he's got him again. Yeah. He's really brave over there, isn't he?
Very, very good for him. Now look how wide he's gone. Craggill, gotcha.
Oh, this is great stuff. The last lap. We've had 3 lead changes here on the last lap. The Kawasaki by far the best bike, but McEwen's bike handling a lot better.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think any amount of heroics can do it into the hairpin down here. No.
McEwen with a big rush up under brakes. Craggill still in front. He's just trying desperately to hang on to him here.
There's no chance through this bit here. The only possibility is getting a slipstream, but we've seen that before. It's not going to work.
Can't see him doing it, Barry. He won't have enough time to get the toe. Well, anyway, we'll know in a couple of seconds.
He won't get the toe.
Down they come. It's Craggill. It's McEwen, but Craggill should be able to hold on now. Not much in it. McEwen did start from pole, but he's got his second place.
Good race.
Here to McEwen. Here to a great ride here too. Robbie Baird, gee whiz, first time out, and he really did a terrific job. And what about the crowd here? They just stood up and applauded as those two flashed over the line. Terrific. Craggill and McEwen, terrific display. Recapping now, race 1 for the Superbikes here. Craggill first, terrific ride. McEwen, wonderful, wonderful dice. Robbie Baird, what a ride from him. McCarthy must have had problems. He led earlier. Goddard and Giles, they made up the top runners for you. Our first look at the new Group A's. They come up next when the Tourers come out to play. Peter Goddard in those spectacular red and blue colours. He'll be carrying our bike cam. Race distance 47.16 kilometres. 12 laps for the Superbike, so plenty of time to see plenty of action here amongst the top runners. A little bit of trouble on the grid, somebody having to leave or get started. Yeah, Robbie Phillips, they'll start him up. Bump started, there we go.
They're not the easiest things in the world to bump start. Right now, McEwen needs a better start than he had in the first one. Whoa, jumped nearly.
Way they go.
Oh, he's got a better start.
McEwen did get the better start. Look at the front wheel. It's only just gone down now, and from the outside and round through the sweeper. Oh, boy, what a start.
Look at this. That's Steve Martin in number 18. He's got a good start, Martin. Whoa.
Came off like a rocket, Martin, around. Some of the starts here today have been incredible.
Whoa. That's great. It gives you a really good idea of how close you get. And lots of times you go into a corner and you feel your shoulder touching a guy's knee or someone's elbow sort of on your lower part of your leg, and it's just something you get used to.
Goddard a lot more competitive this time round, because that's the leader you can see up there, so he's really in the bunch up. As I said, 12 laps, so anything could happen here. Craggill's up front, McEwen.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see number 4, Peter Goddard's bike, how he's handling. It's really set up not well at all. You know, the bike was shaking its head all over the show, and it'll be interesting when we see around the back of the circuit. Oh yes, nice little move out the inside of Steve Martin. Yeah, it'll be interesting around the back of the circuit to see if it's still shaking its head. It was even shaking its head in a straight line.
Jason McEwen there doing a bit of hassling. He really looked the goods in the first of the races, but McCraggle finally just wore him down. McEwen is the New Zealand champion, and he showed he meant business from the word go, but at the moment still doing the chasing. And there we have it.
Yeah, you see the old Kawasaki, there is no substitute for horsepower. It's really difficult when you get a bike that is as good an all-round package as the Kawasaki is. Whoa, nice. McEwen, quick into that.
He did that the first time they came out here for their first encounter. He was very fast through the sweeper and up into this area. Then you commented as he went up over the hill.
Yeah, well, we're just coming up to what is obviously his favourite bit through here. Right, up over the crest of this, you might see him start to get a bit of a run. No, not.
McCarthy right in behind McEwen now. McCraggle under lots of pressure. This is a great battle. 1, 2, and 3 now.
What?
Oh, look at McCarthy.
Give me 3 of what he's had. God, that was a brave move.
Full big wide line from Kirk McCarthy. Bike number 6, and he's just throwing it all around the shop at the moment. McEwen closing that door, and McCraggle doing the same thing to him.
Yeah, as I was saying, McCarthy really had the needle because the tyre just would not hook up. You know, its wheels spin everywhere and it slide going into corners as you had the throttle closed. So something like that that's unpredictable. Not only is it unpredictable, it's also very dangerous because you just never know when it's going to bite you.
Robbie Baird coming to calculations now. He's just moved up the latch onto the back of the top 3. So it's a real ding-dong battle developing here now. Yeah, he's been quick, Barry.
Oh, yeah, he has. Really good, you know, because if Robbie can beat Kurt McCarthy in this one, it's great for the Honda team because they have 2 really good runners, and as I say, if they get some better bits out of the factory, then it's going to make a major difference.
Yeah, Jason McEwen now, as you can see, not quite as quick and as close there behind McCraggle. He just didn't get the run, but have a look at these 2. This is where the big fight is now, up into 3rd and 4th.
Tell you what, the old Suzuki's going a lot better this time, and it looks, the worst place for it was, yeah, it's looking a lot better over the hill there, so they've done something to it. It's needed it.
Peter Goddard now also latching onto the back of this group in the... there, those colours there, the blue and red colours. So he's gone up. That's his shot there as he looks back at Baird. He's not that far off the money this time.
Not.
He's really putting in a much better performance.
You see the back end of Robbie Baird's bike and just sliding a little bit as he started to accelerate.
Peter Goddard is in the middle of the pack. First time round. There it is. You can really see it there.
Oh, Robbie's bike. Oh, what is going on? I think you'll find he had a bit of a slide there. It sort of unsteadied it going into the corner because Peter Goddard made up an awful lot of ground there, you know, for no sort of apparent reason.
You see there, it's a great, a graphic demonstration of how they move around the bikes from that angle, isn't it? You know, I mean, you get onto a straight, you've got to tuck yourself down, and the next minute you're back on the other side of the bike again.
Well, yeah, the thing is with the bigger the bike, or like 750 or a 500, they're a bit like a gyroscope. They want to go in a straight line the whole time. The only way you can get them turned is to sort of hang off the side of the bike, to change directions. You sort of climb from one side of the bike to the other. You steer it with your feet, more or less. Pressure with your feet on the footrest. You go into the then corner, you see you hang your bum off the left-hand side of the seat. Now watch them change of direction here. Yep. And just as you flick your bottom over, it just helps the bike fall into a corner.
So Goddard now giving Robbie Baird a pretty bad time.
Now, there shows graphically that Peter Goddard's bike is 100% better over the crest of that hill now. So, if whatever they did do to it worked. You hear the back end of the Honda there. Just, you have listen.
This is looking back from Baird's bike.
Listen. It's just interesting to hear them. You feather the throttle on. Just listen. Just as you're sort of in the middle of the corner, you start to open the throttle a little bit, and you can't obviously give it a handful. You have a listen around this right-hander. Hard on it now. And as I'm saying, you go into a corner, you just feather the throttle and you get on as much as you dare, because obviously if you give it a big handful, it bites you.
What, you can see the bike step out slightly there when he put the power on.
Look at the bumps here. Just so you've got a picture there. Maybe on the brakes. Yes, that's right. Now Now, for Robbie to get round there, the only possibility would be back on the change of direction.
So it's Craggill, McCarthy, Baird, Goddard, Martin and Giles. They're the top runners at the moment. That's after 4 laps. Robbie Baird has a quick glance as he blasts his way down. The Goddard must say, goodness gracious, what have I got to do every time I get on the straight? He just comes past me. Each time now, this is where he's claimed him back, though, and gets him again.
Yeah, you see, because it's what you gain on the swings you learn. Now you watch, Robbie Baird's always wide round here, but it does give him a better line to change direction. It's nice and it's easier, it's quicker through there.
Only halfway through the race here, so they're really working hard, these two.
Well, yeah, not only that, the tyres will start getting hot soon, and then they'll start sliding around a lot more. What I was going to say was, going into a fast corner like at the end of the straight, if you go in real quick, you sometimes have to sacrifice coming out. By going in quick, you go in deeper into the corner, and you tend to run a little bit wider. And that's what I think that Robbie's doing. He goes in quick, and then tends to run a little bit wide. And we'll see if Robbie Baird passes Peter Goddard again and does the same thing. I'll explain it as we go into it at the end of the straight.
Bikes will start to move around a little bit too, half distance in this race.
Yeah, they will, because they'll be using slightly harder compound than the previous race, unless they thought they may get away with it. So sometimes you're better off with a harder tyre because the thing doesn't hook up real good, but you know what it's going to do later on.
Well, you can see 1 and 2 there are pulling out a little bit now. There is a gap starting to develop from McCarthy and Craggill. Craggill still leading.
Now watch, you see Robbie Baird gained a lot on Goddard going into that, but there Goddard pulls away a lot on the way out of it.
See that movement in the rear end of the bikes now as they start to really come out of that corner, that very fast sweeper into that little straight.
Ooh. And they're back spinning a little there.
You can see all the bits of rubber too on the side of the track, the marbles as they call it, from the racing here today. I mean, nowhere else in the world do we see a program of both four-wheel and two-wheel racing as well as drag racing. So it is a special day.
Well, it's great, you know, it's nice to know that they can live together and still talk to one another at the end of the day. And certainly as far as the Group A along with the bikes are concerned, it doesn't do anybody any harm, you know, because Craggill's still getting chased there by Kurt McCarthy. McCarthy's not giving up the ghost.
No doubt about that. McCarthy had a big lunge back. You saw the gap before when they came down the straight last time round. McCarthy's closed right up on the Craggill now. This is how they were in race number 1. The Craggill held on. Martin Craggill.
Yeah, it's the same old story, you see. McCarthy, say McCarthy went onto the straight on the last lap leading Craggill by that much, Craggill would get him by the start line. Oh dear, this is going to ruin someone's day of it. It's Michael Cook. Did it? Okay.
Craggill, McCarthy. The thing really shaky as it comes out that left-hander.
Ooh, McCarthy did it on the wide side there.
Craggill very focused. You can see that he doesn't spend too much time having a look where he is. He knows where he is. He's just looking where he's going, and something you've been saying for a long time here.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. It's Peter Brock's up here with us, and he's just remarking on how brave McCarthy is, which is true. You know, he really... He does get so stuck in there, he doesn't get how sideways he gets, he'll get it back again. He's a master of bike control, really great bike control.
Went past Peter Hogan there. He did the right thing, Hogan, just in the background, getting out of the way, letting them go, letting them have a free race.
Oh, nice slide there. You see McCarthy, that's a great shot.
He really does let it work, doesn't he?
Oh, it definitely lets it all hang out. But you see, the problem is it becomes so mentally taxing in a race like this. It's not so much physical. You can make up for the inadequacies of a bike for so long during a race, and then it just wears you down. Mentally, it wears you down. You struggle. You can stay. You can make up on brakes, you make up on changing direction and that, and then it does become too hard to do for the whole race.
Well, there's the gap from 1-2 back to 3, 4 and 5. So
now watch Robbie Baird, see if he does the same thing. Now he's got his slipstream, then watch Robbie into this fast. Now watch, now you see, watch Goddard. See Goddard so much quicker.
Just can't do it.
Yeah, he did. Well, Goddard was on the wrong side for him then, but Robbie goes in quick, but Goddard goes in a little bit slower, but Goddard's up the inside. It's a good little tussle.
Oh, this has been a battle right through. I mean, they've swapped positions a number of times here. It's been terrific stuff.
Right, now this will slow Martin Craggill up a little, because you're just sort of thinking about where you're going to nail the bloke, and in the meantime, well, it didn't slow Craggill up, but it really didn't do McCarthy any favours.
No, he didn't lose too much, I don't think. The rider had a good look at him, knew they were there, and did the right thing and got out of the way. So again, they run nose to tail. Craggill and McCarthy running out of laps now. They're on lap 11.
It's great for Martin Craggill to have a good weekend, because he got hit by a bird down at Phillip Island, and he virtually lost the use of his arm, and there was serious doubt at one time whether his arm would ever be normal again. So you know, it's really good for him to get a good wide. That's wide. They don't come any wider than that.
Right, let's recap the top runners for you. It's Craggill, McCarthy, Goddard, Baird, Martin now up ahead of Giles, and an Archibald in behind him. But all the action up front at the moment. McCarthy chasing Craggill. Craggill just opening up that little bit of a gap.
Yeah, it's where McCarthy ran really wide there. That didn't do him any favours whatsoever, because he lost quite a bit of ground there. But that's what happens when you're really trying hard. You have to stuff it in everywhere as hard as you can. And the old tyres will be getting hot now, and he'll be getting hot, and when you're fighting against a bike that is quicker, it's a struggle.
Goddard and Baird, that's plenty of interest still there, because Baird hasn't given up his chase on Goddard. No doubt about that. They're going to take it right down to the wire. McCarthy now. Whoa,
look at that. Savour the flavour of that. That is really good.
Onto the final lap.
He's going to struggle, McCarthy. You know, there's nothing left in the pot, really. It's screwing the neck a bit, and unless Martin makes a bit of a mistake somewhere or runs in a little bit deep somewhere, I can't see McCarthy doing it.
Well, now onto the main straight again, and the checkered flag will go out for Craggill. He'll take it out from McCarthy. McCarthy second. So Craggill, terrific job here, Martin Craggill, today. He really has been good. Look at this side. Baird got him. Baird got Goddard. So that was the scrap of the race, no doubt about that. And the young Queenslander came out.
Giles got Goddard.
Yeah, blast pass here. So Giles, as you predicted, came out of nowhere. There's the two up front. They've had a good dice, good scrap. They would have enjoyed that too. Baird with a terrific ride, and Goddard, well, just getting blasted away about 20 metres out from the finish line.
Right, this is a shot from the back of Robbie Baird's bike, and look, Goddard going backwards. And you see there Sean Giles. It looks to me that the thing must have run out of petrol, because you just don't go backwards that quickly.
Recapping the results, our race 2 from the Superbikes. Craggill takes it with 20 points there. McCarthy on 17, Baird on 15, Giles 13. Goddard, who you saw go backwards, on 11. Overall results now. Craggill, of course, Martin Craggill, the great win here in the Kawasaki with 40 points from Kirk McCarthy on 30. Robbie Baird, a terrific job to equal those points with 30 as well. Giles on 23. Peter Goddard finished on 22. Let's go pit side with Andrew Voss.
Well, it's worked out the perfect Sunday, 2 from 2.
Yeah, I couldn't have wished for better. I'd really like to thank Kawasaki. You know, they made me look good. I don't feel that I was riding that good today, but the bike was working well, and the tyres were working well, and Zurich for their sponsorship, and Shell, and Canon, and NGK. Thanks a lot.
I think you got them all in. What about Jason McEwen dropped off with some problems, but Kirk McCarthy certainly picked up the challenge?
Yeah, Kirk went a lot better in the second one than he did in the first one. I'm glad Jason dropped off.
Martin, congratulations again.
Thanks a lot.
From the Melbourne Suzuki team, Steve, a great effort to get the final round at Malhalla. With me in commentary for this one, Ken Wootton, editor of Australian Motorcycle News. Ken, it is very, very windy.
Very windy and a lot of pressure, not only from the wind but from the championship. And Marty Craggill doing everything right at the moment. He's qualified on pole. He's got that extra championship point. But boy, is he going to be able to stop Peter Goddard, or is Peter Goddard going to run away with this championship?
Let's see how they get off the line. It is Goddard forcing his teammate wide. Good start here from Commel as well. Bike 19 will lead them through the first time through the S's. Not very far from the start line to the first corner on this circuit, and it can make life very, very crowded. On board with Damon Buckmaster, the Shell Advanced Suzuki machine. Gives you an idea just how close they are, Ken Wootton. Look at this. Here's Peter Goddard up the inside and fighting for the lead.
Let's just run through the scenario here. For Marty Craggill to win this championship, he has to win both races. He has to qualify in pole position, which he's already done. And Peter Goddard has got to finish outside the top 5. Now, at the moment, Peter Goddard's out in front. We're looking at the view from Damon Buckmaster's on-bike camera. He's back in the pack. He hasn't had a good start, but Peter Goddard out in front already in clear air, and he'll certainly want to be keeping away from those two Kawasaki's behind him.
No doubt foremost in his mind the idea of simply finishing in the top 5. He does not want to get involved in a scrap. As the field stream through the S's, they come onto the short straight here. This is the start-finish straight, and that is Rick Crocker on the Honda, getting sideways early on. Quite a few kilometres to complete, and the Kawasaki's are fast, but the wind playing havoc with the riders. It is very blustery, probably up around the 30 kilometre an hour, and it is really knocking the bikes around. Here is Goddard in a replay. Look at the style of this man, the front pushing. This is a tight, tight corner. In fact, here at Malhalla, 3 times rowing back through the gears. Very, very tough on brakes. And if you are a late breaker, a la, well, Martin Craggill, you can expect to see some fierce action down into these corners. Have a look at this. Having said that, Craggill gets up the inside of Ben Archibald on the Ducati. Now, Archibald started to have a few problems with gear changing early on in this race. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't overcome the distance that he lost. He really is going to have to fight for it. You're on board again with Buckmaster, having a look at just how tight it is out there, Ken. And I wonder just how many of the competitors have had to make changes to cope with the conditions, the wind, the headwind, then it's a tailwind.
Quite often it catches them out too. You can go whistling into a corner lap after lap. Suddenly there's a 10 kilometre an hour difference in the wind. That changes your top speed. Go in too deep, you'll run wide, and you've blown the corner. As we go once again with Damon Buckmaster with the onboard camera on the Shell Advanced Suzuki dealer team bike. Marty Craggill, just talking about running wide under brakes. He's been caught out in the pit hairpin, ran out wide. However, he's managed to get back on the taps as we take a replay of Marty Craggill under brakes. When he gets it right, he's the deepest braker in the field. Look how hard he's gone in there under Ben Archibald on the Ducati. Pulls it round tight to stop Ben getting back underneath him. But have a look at Archibald on the Duke. He's got the front wheel up beside the Kawasaki, early on the gas, but Craggill holds him out. Head of the pack, though, Peter Goddard. He's leading. He's got the championship in his sights. He's only got to finish this race in the top 5, but he's got the wildest man on the circuit clamped to his rear wheel. Troy Bayliss, he is the loosest superbike rider you've ever seen, but somehow he manages to keep that bike upright and does things with it that other riders can only dream about.
Certainly is remarkable, his performance on the motorcycle. He will pull the pen and do anything, anytime to anyone in order to get to the lead. He is extraordinary in his ability to throw the motorcycle around. Goddard looks to the outside. Guess who's up the inside? Troy Bayliss. Goddard, though, head down. Thank you very much. I'll go back into the lead. Here it is on replay. Now, you can see that Goddard thought he was going to be overtaken on the outside. Nope. That is Troy Bayliss up the inside. Look, Bayliss working the motorcycle. Simply pulls the handlebars back into where they roughly should be, applies the power, but Goddard was already on the gas and able to outdrive him to the kink. Well, there is plenty of action here. That is Steve Martin, bike 99, the leading privateer. A superb performance from him and a very much underrated rider. I really do think that he has come of age finding a motorcycle that works for him. Look at the style here of Troy Bayliss on replay. This guy certainly earns his dollars. The front wheel comes up, goes sideways, grabs another gear, thank you, and lofts the front wheel again. Goddard now, still in control, but gee, if you had rear-view mirrors, you certainly wouldn't be looking in them at the moment. We're on board again with Buckmaster. This guy is smooth. He is fast. He has won at Lakeside. He has tasted victory. Here's a man who wants to taste victory today as he gets up the inside. Bayliss has moved into the lead, has gone past Goddard. Here it is on replay. Deep under brakes. Now, Goddard is thinking to himself, well, you'd imagine he's thinking to himself, I think I'll let this one go right on by, thank you very much. Now he will be able to sit back and keep an eye on just what's going on with the Kawasaki. Here's the Suzuki meat in the Kawasaki sandwich.
Yes, and it's fantastic racing because Bayliss, he's got nothing to lose. All he wants to do is get out in front, clear track. Peter Goddard, he'd have his heart in his mouth as they come through to lap one of the slower riders, Paul Caridi on a privateer Suzuki. But Marty Craggill's the one that has to win this race. He's got to score 20 points and Goddard's got to be shuffled back to 5th. As Craggill up the inside under brakes, Goddard gives him plenty of room. He doesn't want a Kawasaki bull bar nudging that Suzuki off into the mulga, and you can understand that. A very clean passing move by Craggill. He's a lot lankier than the other riders in the field. Lacks out in top speed because of that, because he hangs out like a windsock. Let's look on the replay. Marty Craggill, we've spoken about how good he is under brakes. Very deep into the corner, pushes it in hard into the hairpin, pivots it round with his knee, caressing the tarmac, then he'll be hard on the throttle on the way out. What's interesting is these riders use different gearbox setups. Some of them push down to change up gears, some of them click the lever up to change up gears. It's very much a personal preference thing. Peter Goddard, he's one of those riders that pushes down on the lever to change up a gear. He's got a speed shifter on that bike, so he can hold the throttle full open on that Suzuki, click the gear lever, and it will change up a gear. Doesn't even have to touch the clutch, and because of that, he saves precious seconds around this circuit. Back in 3rd position at the moment, it's a position that he's not accustomed to. Goddard, he's been the class act of the series so far. Marty Craggill on bike 5, he's obviously trying, Greg. I've never seen him hang off the bike that far so far this season.
Definitely earning his dollars, no doubt about that. But Goddard seems still to be in control, doesn't he? He's just sitting back and he knows what he has to do. The consummate professional in Australian motorcycle road racing is Peter Goddard. Locks the front wheel along the front straight. It is a tough circuit, Malhalla. If you don't like corners, you are not going to like coming to South Australia to race here. That is Troy Bayliss. He is on the map, no doubt about it. Has pulled the pin, has his teammate now, Martin Craggill, in behind him. Craggill is on a charge. Oh, Bayliss. Lots of oversteer coming into the hairpin at the bottom of the back part of the circuit. Then they're headed to the S's. That was a big slide there for him. We see it constantly with the smaller motorcycles. These big guys, though, that is dangerous. They are big rear tyres and they will catch and throw you over the high side very, very quickly indeed. Craggill now on the charge. Up behind his teammate, you've got to feel for Peter Doyle, the manager of Team Kawasaki Australia. He watches his 2 riders carve each other up all over the country, and sometimes both bikes don't make it back in one piece. On the charge, look at Bayliss, working the throttle, working the motorcycle, and he is quite happy to let that motorcycle squirm and move around underneath him. Super high speeds here on the back portion of the circuit. Ben Archibald now has made some real ground there, and he has moved forward. Goddard, well, he knows 5th place. He can count to 5, not a problem. And his pit boards would be telling him the whole time the story, where he stands, who's in front, and especially who's behind.
There's certainly no team orders at the front. We know that Craggill has to win to keep his faint championship hope alive. Yet his teammate, Troy Bayliss, he's not letting Craggill through. He's obviously going for the race win. Peter Goddard, he'd be hearing all sorts of sounds in that Suzuki. He'd be wondering if the valves are touching. He'd be thinking, is it going flat in the revs? As Troy Bayliss does everything to hold out Marty Craggill. Craggill tries to go around the outside in turn 1. You need big brakes to do that, and he wasn't able to do it that lap. So we've got Bayliss still leading the way. Let's take it on the replay. Craggill up on the outside, nearly gets level with Bayliss, but Bayliss cuts across the apex of the corner. There's no room on the outside for Craggill, and he's got to tuck in behind. So we've still got 27-year-old Troy Bayliss leading this race on the Zurich Kawasaki. Surprisingly, both these riders, let's look at the replay. Bayliss all up out of the seat fighting for control. I was about to say that both Craggill and Bayliss have similar setups on their bikes. They're not a lot different. but Bayliss rides his so loose. Oh, once again, under brakes, out wide, Craggill in deep, Bayliss back underneath. These guys are fighting up. Look at Craggill all crossed up under brakes, just way too hot into the corner, has to pull the bike in too late, leaves a gap and Bayliss slips through. So Bayliss out in front. Hello, he's got problems. He's down, he's out. Front end began to go. You could see that going into the corner, Greg. He obviously lost control, tried to keep it up with his knee, and what a disappointing end for our race leader.
Certainly was. Here it is on replay. Now the front tyre is sliding. It is pushing across the track. He is trying to hold it up on his knee. Look at his arm. He pulls up and then says, no, thank you very much. I'll get out of this one. Bails out and leaves the race lead now to his teammate, Martin Craggill, who desperately needs this win. If, for whatever reason, Goddard failed to finish the race, Craggill would only need the win in the second one to pull off this job. I don't know if he can do it, but right at the moment he believes he can. Ben Archibald in second on the Ducati. This is a good ride from him. Ben Archibald moving up to the Ducati, having ridden an ex-Team Kawasaki superbike last year. They're on their final lap. This is a superb performance from Martin Craggill. Has absolutely pulled the pin. Here he is. Look at the style of this man. Hanging off the left-hand side of the motorcycle, giving it all he is worth. And I tell you what, Ken Wootton, this is a phenomenal ride from him. But what about Peter Goddard? He is heading for victory and the Australian Superbike Championship.
Half a lap to go. It will be Suzuki's first Australian Superbike Championship. It will be Peter Goddard's first Australian Superbike Championship. The championship's been going since 1989, yet Suzuki has never been able to win it. It's been won by Honda, it's been won by Kawasaki. It's Marty Craggill who looks like taking out this race at the 5th round of the series, but it looks like Peter Goddard, with only 3 or 4 corners to go, will be the new Australian Superbike champion. All he has to do is finish across the line, and boy, I bet you he's a very happy man.
Of that you can be certain. Well, time now to talk to the new champion, Peter Goddard.
Oh, I'm glad to get that race over. I'll tell you, it was hard. I went out good, and but then started to suffer some tyre problems. I chose fairly soft tyres. Track temperatures come up a lot, and I was suffering with tyres, as you could probably see, and dropping back. And I could see Troy looked like he was suffering too, and he was, because he fell off it. And you know, I'm just happy I only had to finish in the top 5 to clinch the series, so we'll give the next race a fair go.
Well, they say winners are grinners. Have a look at the smile on this man's face. Peter Goddard has done it. He has won the Australian Superbike Championship for 1990.
Flag first. Malhalla was second. Heat number 2 coming your way.
Great racing in the Superbikes. Let's see how they line up for race 2. Anthony Gobert from 1. Scotty Doohan on the Ducati from 2. From 3, bike 17, Peter Goddard on the Ansett Air Freight Suzuki. From 4, bike 15, Martin Craggill. And from 5, 45, Matthew Malhalla. Position 6, bike 18, Steve Martin. From 7, bike 6, Roy Leslie. From 8, bike 44, Trevor Jordan on the Kawasaki ZXR. From 9, bike 16, Robert Baird. And rounding out the 10, bike 11, Chris Bombarderi. Away they go. Heat 2, round 6 of the Shell Oils Australian Superbike Championship. And Matt Malhalla, the man on form here today, so strong in the first heat, leads them off the start the second time. Martin Craggill tucks into second place as they head down to the sweeper.
A good start this time for Anthony Gobert on the RC45, the red Honda. He moves up into 3rd position right behind Craggill. We saw a fantastic battle in heat number 1 a little earlier in the day between these two Green Machine pilots, and Gobert is right up amongst this party. Joining us in commentary, Neil Crompton. Hasn't been the ideal day in the touring cars.
No, certainly had better ones, but this is a great performance from young Matt here. Tremendous to see him recovering from the injuries that he's received in recent months and being up at the top of the field. But passed on the inside there by Craggill, outbreaks him into the hairpin as they head down now to this long left-hander, brings them down to turn 5. Craggill on the inside, Malhalla tucked in right behind in second place, and they've got a little bit of daylight now. Back to 3rd place Gobert. Gee, that new Honda's impressive, isn't it?
Sure is. Great start from Gobert too. He got pushed back to 7th when he started on the wrong tyres for the first heat. Here he is up in 2nd, coming to complete the first lap. A fabulous start from Gobert.
At least the conditions are a little more consistent than they were when the boys were out earlier in the day. It's been any man's guess as to what you should do with tyres. Do you go for slicks? Do you go for intermediates? Do you go for wets? As Andy said a minute ago, the horizon doesn't look good as now Gobert makes a lunge round the outside. sniffing the muffler of the tailpipe of Malhalla. But at least at the moment they've got reasonably consistent conditions. A little bit of patchy water down this short pit straight, but otherwise their cornering speeds at least will be predictable.
Neil on screen, Matt Malhalla and Anthony Gobert, two young men that both you and I have seen a lot of from their dirt biking days, and haven't they come on in leaps and bounds?
Well, it's just fantastic, and it demonstrates the usefulness of a training ground, I guess, for motocross bikes and for dirt racing generally. And as we know, a lot of the Grand Prix 500cc motorcycle racers use dirt bikes to hone their skills, as it were. And indeed, my boss, Wayne Gardner, spent plenty of time on the dirt practicing for doing just exactly what we see here, which is to be able to ride these bikes that hard that they can slide them. Now, anybody that's ever ridden a motorcycle will appreciate just how difficult it is to wring one of these things' necks and cock that back wheel sideways and fling them around. That's what you've got to do to be quick. And every time Gardner talks to me about it, I shake my head and want to walk away. But that's what these blokes are doing. And the leader at the moment, comprehensively giving them a whipping, and it's Martin Craggill, 15 for Kawasaki. Then Matt Malhalla in second place. He's number 45. Great shot of him there. And coming up round the outside and really applying pressure. Now dives to the inside. Great riding from Gobert. He takes second.
Anthony Gobert, a great move. You think Malhalla, we've seen the last of him? No, what a great tussle going into this 180-degree right-hander. Gobert and Malhalla both very young with bright futures. I'll tell you who's joined the party is Peter Goddard on the Suzuki.
I was going to say, it's a real battle behind them, and now Malhalla comes through again on the inside. Can Anthony hang on? It puts him in the marbles out here, but no, he might be okay. Look at the rear wheel on Malhada's bike. The thing snakes under brakes. Peter Goddard says he'll have a bit of this as well. He's on 17. There he is.
And Scotty Doohan on the Big Duke has moved up to the end of this freight train. In the meantime, Martin Craggill, you can see out in front. Goddard moves up on the inside of Malhalla into third place.
Nice braking manoeuvre into the S's. Important that the bike be able to do clean direction changes here. Looks to me a little as though Matt hasn't quite got the setup because the bike's losing mid-corner speed. Goddard noses down the inside. It's Gobert on 23. He's on the left-hand side of screen, the all-red leathers. Goddard behind him, 17, back from overseas now. Doing a great job here in Australia.
Certainly the man of the moment. He hasn't finished any worse than second throughout the whole championship. Consistency wins championships, and boy, hasn't he been on the pace this year. Look at Goddard. Has more than looked down the inside as they head up for the sweeper once more.
He's riding the Ansett Air Freight Suzuki. And that Suzuki's been getting stronger and stronger, and Mick Hone looking after that team, and he's got a lot of experience in superbike preparation.
They're still calling it the old
look at Gobert. That thing was sliding on the rear wheel all the way into the turn. In fact, so much so that he's dropped 2 placings.
And Malhalla, he takes advantage of that little hiccup because he moves up 2 places as well, pushes his way past number 2.
This is serious motor racing. These blokes are red hot. Gobert just braked 1 bike length too late as we take 7 Sports race cam. The back of Scott Doohan's Ducati. Oops, and misses a gear there as he comes through the direction change at the S's. They've got 4 laps to run, this time across the start-finish line. That's where they are right now as they head down into this very fast and slightly bumpy right-hander.
They're certainly producing the action, the superbikes this year. Malhalla.
When haven't they?
Exactly right. And look at Doohan on the Big Duke. Doohan moves on the inside, the older brother of Mick, who's looking red hot, I dare say, to take out his first World Championship. A great view of Matt Malhalla on the Kawasaki as we take 7 Sport race cam.
Look at those clouds moving in too. Any moment you get the feeling it's going to bucket down here.
Well, it's about another 4 minutes of racing if it'll just hold off, because these things would be an ugly scene on slicks in the wet conditions.
Keep in mind, Matt Malhalla, you mentioned his injuries earlier, Neil, still carrying 3 cracked vertebrae in his back. It's a pretty gutsy ride. He's got to stay upright to stay in this championship. If he drops the bike again, he's going to be in real trouble.
Not only in the points chase, but physically, I don't think Matt Malhalla could take too much more this year, Neil Crompton.
No, not at all. And, you know, Matt comes down to our Coca-Cola Holden team quite a bit and spends a bit of time with us, and we shake our heads and worry about his health. But, you know, he's a tremendous rider. This is our leader, by the way, Martin Craggill, 15 for Kawasaki. 3 to go at the end of this lap. Peter Goddard is in second, bit of a gap. Then it's Doohan on 2. Matt is in 4th place on 45.
Craggill's not bucking about here too. He's down in the 9s at 9.97. That's pretty close to his qualifying pace of Anthony Gobert, the pole man, so they're really on it now.
That was Roy Leslie next in the queue there on bike 6. There he is. Had a look at a very good look at Roy's bike at Eastern Creek a couple of weeks ago. We're doing a story for the Great Outdoors program on 7 on the Ducati, and it's a fantastic bit of machinery. I really love that thing.
Yep, the Ducati's putting on quite a show here today, but the star of the circus is Martin Craggill on the Kawasaki. Currently fourth in the championship, and this will certainly close things up. Anthony Gobert on bike 23, you see there. He is the series leader. The battle for second rages on.
Look at Roy, very strong under brakes. Interesting enough, the Ducati team using a twin carbon disc setup here, as they believe it gives them much better braking performance.
Well, this place rival Simmons Plains is the hardest circuit on brakes anywhere in Australia. Massive temperatures are built up 3 times in a lap, and it's only a 70-odd second lap, and so it's hard for the brakes to recover, hard to cool them off. This time round it'll be 2 to go. We're watching Roy Leslie here on the Ducati bike number 6.
So the orders: Craggill, Goddard, Doohan, Malhalla, Gobert, Leslie. This battle intensifies as the laps wind down.
That's Robbie Baird on bike number 16, and he had an absolute shocker of a time trying to get here. They hit a roo on the way to Malhalla. They had radiator, they had electrical problems, and to cap it off, someone flogged his $250 set of brand new Nike shoes.
Oh, no. Well, things are looking up, at least on the track, which is where it all counts. This is Peter Goddard, 17. In hot pursuit, we've got Scotty Doohan on 2, and this is a real battle for position. Second and third. Keep in mind that Craggill's gone. He's on 15 for Team Kawasaki.
See if, oh, very strong under brakes, the Duke, but not enough. Goddard goes deeper. Gee, this is slick riding from Goddard.
Certainly is. He's a very experienced rider, Peter Goddard.
Remember, they've got different weights, different capacities. One is a twin-cylinder bike. That's the Ducati on the inside. Can he outbrake Doohan down the inside? Does it. Rear wheel skipping around. Can he control the speed? Beautiful race cam shot as we look at Goddard. This time through, it's 1 lap to go as they come through the S's.
I think Goddard's finished with this. Doohan gets the grunt down on the big V-twin.
Well, Peter had a look over his left shoulder then just to see who else might have been going to assault him, and he'll be pleased to know that there's a little bit of daylight back there, which gives him an opportunity to concentrate on this man here.
While these two are locked in battle, Craggill's opened the gap. It's just over 2 seconds now.
See the very different body language those two riders are using to get their machines to work, and indeed the chassis themselves have got very different characteristics. This is Craggill sliding the Kawasaki, huge revs as he clicks up through the gearbox, down the back straight, if you can call it that. When you see a bike doing that, I'd hardly call it a straight, Crompton. What am I on about? But it's very, very quick. Look at that rear wheel off the deck again.
See him slide in, leave that black trail of rubber there as he had the rear locked up.
110% commitment.
Yeah.
Goddard here in third for Suzuki. So a good spread of machinery across the first 3 positions, proving again just how competitive the Shell Oil's Superbike Championship's been this year.
There's Matt Malhalla. It isn't Martin Craggill, full of confidence. Just received confirmation that he'll be riding in the Suzuka 8-hour coming up later this year.
Checkered flag at the ready.
Last corner for Martin Craggill. He took heat 1 and he takes heat 2 of the Shell Oil Superbikes here at Malhalla. On the back wheel, Scotty Doohan. Third is Peter Goddard. Fourth is Matt Malhalla. And fifth is Robbie Baird. Race winner and event winner, Martin Craggill, the privateer Kawasaki.
Let's have a look at how they finished there. Martin Craggill, of course, the winner on the Kawasaki ZXR from Scotty Doohan. Peter Goddard in third from 4, Matt Malhalla, great ride that. And from 5th, bike 16, Robbie Baird.